Business Spotlight, brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.
I'm Sonya Farrell. This is Business Spotlight in partnership with Cross Rhythms City Radio and Baba Baboon. This week we're going to be talking about something a little bit different, something exciting and a unique new competition which has been launched in Stoke-on-Trent as we welcome and say hello to Adele Simmons from Smithfield Works and Tom Nadin from the Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce. Hello both.
Hi Sonia, you alright?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good,
thank you.
Good. Thank you so much for joining us here again on Business Spotlight. I know none of you are strangers to this studio, but we are going to be talking about something a little bit different, a new collaboration and also a new competition, should I say, as well, for businesses in Stoke-on-Trent who are under 3 years old. Tom, I'm just going to come to you first before we go on to that, because this is going to lead into the competition, which is why I just want you to elaborate a little bit on the challenges, that you see that young businesses do face in Stoke-on-Trent.
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges at the minute for businesses across Stoke-on-Trent, especially those kind of small, young businesses. There's a lot of kind of increasing cost kind of pressures for them. There's a lot of challenges kind of finding their network and how they reach those customers and kind of how they kind of develop their supply chains. There's actually a challenge as well around kind of finding the right space and kind of grow on space for them. Mm-hmm. So once they've started up, actually then where do they then move on to next? And I think kind of this competition that we're looking to launch will help to kind of answer some of those questions that kind of businesses and the challenges in Stoke-on-Trent are facing.
And just going back to the Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce, without getting into a great, load of detail, should I say, but there is various services that the Chambers of Commerce do provide as well. But what would you say are some of the main key factors that businesses do struggle with when they're first starting out?
A lot of businesses, when they first start out, don't understand some of the kind of the basics of kind of running a business. So things around, kind of creating a business plan, creating a strong marketing plan so they can actually reach their target audience, and also getting the finances right. Mm-hmm. So, getting a cash flow forecast, putting in kind of a profit and loss, understanding that kind of what that business is going to make is actually going to be enough for them to cover their costs, kind of their cost of living, all of those kind of aspects really. So, and there's a lot of support out there that the Chamber offers, that the Growth Hub offers, that can kind of help businesses with that.
And Adele, I'm just going to come on to yourself now. Smithfield Works are based in Hanley, not far from the studio. Yeah. And just being open and transparent, I know Smithfield Works well. And I know there is sort of various opportunities, again, for younger businesses, whether that is looking to open their first office suite or, the hot desk opportunities that are down there. But again, you come across, I believe, so many different businesses of all sizes. What do you see when a young business comes through the door and, what are they looking for within the area?
Yeah, so it's kind of an opportunity to nurture that business and be a part of their journey. So we often first get them at networking events, or they just call because they've seen something on social media or LinkedIn, or they've just Googled us. So it's just welcoming them into that environment. What's not very, what people perceive as business, stuffy and professional. We're quite relaxed, we're really friendly. We're more about the business community than we are about being professional. We are still professional, but we make sure that we've got that human side, which makes people feel really comfortable. So people can come for a desk for a day, or they can have a gold member desk, which is like a dedicated desk in a shared space, which is really popular with really young businesses. Or we do the private suites as well, or meeting rooms. So it's finding what works for your business at that early stage, whether it's, the idea to the incubation and then to the growth. For example, we've got a young digital recruitment company that have grown over the past 2 years within our space. They are at one end of the building in their gold desk, but they'll have conversations with one of the big corporate companies that we've got in one of the private offices, and it's just really nice to see them engaging and doing really well.
And and that community, and when you mentioned there, somebody who's actually started off, just starting their business, and to see them grow, I mean, I'm just going to ask you about that really, because the relationships down there at Smithfield Works, and you see this happen. How does that, how did the feedback come across, and how do you feel about that when you see that as well, when you've had those sort of close relationships?
That's why I do my job. I absolutely love it. I find that so rewarding to see people thriving and growing within the space. And then beyond, we've even had big companies that have gone beyond, and we're still in contact and going to events with them and things like that. That is why I continue to do what I do. that incubation, the growth, it's more like a family than it is a business. And it's just rewarding to see businesses growing in Stoke-on-Trent, because it does get a bad rap. You know, look at all my tenants and look at all their success stories. And then the next step is to kind of engage them with the Chambers of Commerce, because I think it's quite a scary label, isn't it? The Chambers of Commerce.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
It's a bit like, I don't know what that is. That's a bit too posh
Sounds
for
a bit
me.
stuffy, doesn't it? Yeah.
And it's a bit intimidating. So actually having that relationship with the Chambers of Commerce and introducing them is quite nice, because it just makes it more accessible for the new startups, new people who are fresh out of, you know, they can either be really young themselves and it's the first venture, or they've just left a business and strike out on their own, you know, that kind of thing. So it's just providing more opportunities, and knowing that we've played a small part in that, or a big part for some people, is really rewarding.
And I'm just going to come back to a point you mentioned there about the relationship with the Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce. And I've seen myself on various different things, whether it's been on social media or on the website as well, where you have actually helped to host or invited the Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce in as well to do different events. And then I'm going to lead on from that. But if you just want to mention about the different events that you've held down at Smithfield Works, and then how that has come on now to this new sort of brand new collaboration in which a brand new competition has been launched.
Yeah. So networking events, so we have different events, the Connects Network. We recently hosted the Chambers 123 Club and did kind of a soft launch for this, didn't we? We got quite a few entries, which was really good. And it was absolutely packed. I was surprised how many people are in the 123 Club, which is fantastic. And the energy in the room from that was great. I didn't expect it to be like that.
And a lot of those businesses, it was their first time experiencing kind of the Smithfield Works, and I think they were blown away that there was such a fantastic facility kind of on the doorstep that they could access. So it was brilliant from our point of view. Yeah,
same. And that's where the collaboration truly works. So we became a strategic partner with the Chambers earlier this year, and it has been a true collaboration. It's not just been kind of, we're using the Chambers services, or, you know, the Chambers are just there. It's as much as we put in, the Chambers put in. So it really is truly collaborative, and just being able to pass that energy and that service on to different users, new or old, is great.
And then Tom, I'm just going to, before we bring in the competition as well, but I just want to mention there, so hosting the 123 Club, what exactly is the 123 Club?
So the 123 Club is aimed at businesses in their first 1 to 3 years. So it kind of does what it says on the tin, and it's all about kind of getting them to network with other young businesses, talk about their challenges, the issues that they're facing, because normally when one business has faced that challenge, kind of another one has as well, so they can talk about how they overcome them. We have key speakers in as well, that will give them kind of topics, talk around kind of topics which are of interest to kind of new startup businesses. And we take them to places as well, like Smithfield Works, where, you know, they can actually benefit from a service or support and from those kind of organisations. So it's all around just kind of nurturing those young businesses really across Stoke-on-Trent.
And that comes on again to fit quite nicely actually with what we are going to sort of mention now. And, you know, you've talked about, you know, Adele Smithfield Works became a strategic partner with the Chambers of Commerce. Chambers of Commerce have now been hosting, you know, different events, including the 123 Club down at the venue. And like you say, you go to other venues as well. But again, it just kind of leads on quite nicely to what I'm aware of about this new competition, which I'm going to ask you both to name and introduce, if you will, and just to explain a little bit more. So Adele, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so it's the Business Elevator. So looking at way to elevate young businesses. Again, a really collaborative thing. It was just an idea saying, how can we work together to kind of capture those new businesses and really help out and make a difference to those new businesses? Exactly. And yeah, it just started from there, and then a conversation led to another conversation and another one, and then here we are today.
Tom, who's involved then? Apart from the Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce and obviously Smithfield Works, who else is involved in this?
Yep, so we've got the Growth Hub that are involved in it, so the Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire Growth Hub, so they're going to be providing some of the kind of expert support and kind of help around websites. So the Growth Hub acts as kind of the one-stop shop for all business support and advice for businesses across the region. So it's really kind of key that kind of they get involved in kind of supporting those kind of young fledgling businesses. And obviously yourself, Sonya, as well, kind of you're involved in it, so I don't know if you want to talk about kind of your side.
Thanks, Tom. I was going to come on to it actually, but yeah, so Baba Baboon and myself, again, being open and transparent with everybody who is listening, we are involved in the Business Elevator, and we're going to talk about as well, and which I'll ask you to come on to, but I'm going to ask you the prize as well and what the different organisations are going to be offering. But as Baba Baboon, yes, we are going to be involved in that, and we are going to be supporting it in various ways, and also providing, a 2-hour sort of PR strategy to help a young business. Like you've mentioned earlier, Tom, PR and marketing can be one of those minefields, again, which nobody quite understands sometimes at the beginning, or might not even think about budgets for those sorts of things. So yes, we will be providing some support as well as a part of that prize. But I want to ask you guys, what are you going to be providing as part of your prize pot?
So you can be part of the Smithfield Works family. So a dedicated desk in our members area. So it's a truly collaborative space. Again, I've already mentioned how one of our startups, gets talking to one of our big corporates. But also like a CIC got talking with a recruitment company and then ended up doing some work for local schools, which is really great. But that space and that place to call home, that's not a kitchen table, with kids running around and whatever else. And just that support factor, that friendly face every day. And it just makes you feel like you're at a real business, if that makes sense, because you're not at the kitchen table, you're at this nice desk in a lovely environment with great people.
So a 12-month hot desk space at Smithfield Works, Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce, Tom?
Yeah, so we're providing a 2-year startup membership access, so it'll give a business access to all of our chamber events. So we run over 300 a year. It'll also give them support around kind of HR documentation, anything to do with kind of health and safety, all of the kind of the chamber benefits they will get access to for that kind of 12-month period as well through that.
Sounds amazing. And obviously, like we've mentioned, the Stoke-on-Trent and Staffordshire Growth Hub are also supporting as well and providing the different services that they can. Baba Baboon will be providing some PR support with a strategy session as well as that. But how do businesses, the criteria then, I believe, is for businesses of Stoke-on-Trent,
Yep.
Stoke-on-Trent, 3 years and under,
Yeah.
how can they actually enter this competition? And is it a really difficult process, or is it quite simple?
It's really simple, it's really easy. We wanted to make it really accessible and user friendly. So you just go to our website, smithfieldworks.com. Scroll down a little bit, you don't have to register or anything, you just fill in this form, tell us about you, tell us about your business, click submit, and then all entries will be reviewed towards the end of May.
Yep, that's it.
Yep.
And it's free to enter, isn't it?
Free
this
to
competition?
enter, completely free.
So all entries can be done online then at Smithfield Works website. And then after that, from what you've just said, everything will be reviewed, and also there'll be a judging panel as well. And you'll go through to a judging process.
Yep.
And then after that, winners will be notified. And at some point, I'm sure we'll all be maybe having a nice celebration with the winners as well and those who have entered.
Definitely. It's definitely something worth celebrating. And the people that are taking the time to fill in the forms, put themselves out there, being brave, they are definitely worth celebrating.
And Tom, I'm just going to come to you for one last word, if that's okay as well. As well as, we've talked about the collaborations and how important that is. We've talked about the different services and what can be on offer for a young business in Stoke-on-Trent. But how important is it for these collaborations to come together as well and actually put, a bit of a prize together for a young business? How important really is that for somebody?
A collaboration's key, really. There is a wide range of support that's out there for businesses. So if we can come together as kind of a strong support network for them, talk about kind of what our offer is, and actually put it in a kind of a simple package, which I think kind of this kind of elevator kind of pitch is, it gives them the real opportunity to be able to access that support, to help them to grow, overcome those challenges that we talked about earlier, and hopefully help them to kind of, take people on kind of within the local area and become a real success story of Stoke-on-Trent, like some of the other kind of big businesses that we've got within the region.
Fantastic. I wish you all the best, and I wish everyone all the best as well who was going to enter the Business Elevator. That's Adele Simmons from Smithfield Works and Tom Nadin from Staffordshire Chambers of Commerce here on Business Spotlight with me, Sonya Farrell.
Business Spotlight, shining a light on our local business community. Brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.